This is News Talk 610 CKTB with Tim Dennis in the morning.
You heard us last week talking about the beginning of our Help Kids Shine campaign 2015 and the fact that this year we were going to introduce you to 12 ambassadors that represented all the great things that the Niagara Children's Center can do and continues to do, and the kind of thing that can continue only if we help them. Joining me this morning, one of the other ambassadors that has such an amazing story is the mother of Megan Dick, who is Amber Dick, who is joining me on the phone right now. Amber, so good to talk to you again. Hi, how are you?
Hi, good. Thanks for having me, Tim.
Amber, your story is the kind of thing that we as parents, if you don't mind me saying so, it scares the hell out of a lot of people. It really does. You're happy about the birth of a new child in 2009, and then suddenly you begin to notice that things are not quite right. And as a parent, what goes through your mind?
A lot of fear, just like you said. I know that we had two previous children, and so this was the third, the completion of our family. And when she was born, I thought everything was perfectly normal, but some of the nurses and doctors started to have some questions, and within 24 hours, she was whisked away to McMaster Hospital. And when we arrived, we followed, and when we arrived, she was literally surrounded by just teams of specialists. She had tubes coming out of her arms and legs and stomach and head. And in that moment, I knew something is very wrong. And I was actually sick to my stomach. I didn't know how to even begin to process that something was permanently going to be a challenge for my child.
Part of this story that amazes me so much is that in the years since, there's never been a real definitive diagnosis, has there?
Well, there actually has, but the problem with our diagnosis, Tim, is that it doesn't give you answers. Megan was diagnosed 5 months after birth with a rare genetic disorder called partial mosaic trisomy 8 ring, but the problem is that even the genetics department at McMaster hadn't met anybody with this diagnosis. They gave us a website in the United Kingdom that had a little bit of information, but we've really been flying blindly, just taking it a day at a time and trying to figure out what it means.
Can you give me a little sketch about what it does mean to you on a regular basis? Because let's talk about Megan. I mean, what is a day for Megan like? What does she deal with?
Well, it started in the very beginning of her life. The reason why we had to stay in the hospital for the months that we did is, in the first defining feature of Megan was her low tone. So they called her a floppy baby. They call it hypotonia is the technical term. But her was so floppy that she actually couldn't sustain her vitals. So she would turn blue if you moved her wrong because she couldn't keep that airway open. So that was the first feature, and that was the first thing that actually brought us to the Niagara Children's Center, because I truly had no idea what you do to help strengthen a child, how you help her overcome that. Since that moment, we've had various other things. She has partial agenesis of the corpus callosum, so her left side and her right side of her brain don't connect, which I think has connected to her diagnosis of a mild intellectual disability. She's on the autism spectrum, and she also has a fragile spine. So she has a variety of needs that we're constantly dealing with on a daily basis and trying to help her to be able to function and thrive despite.
So you're learning all of this as time goes on. Where does the Niagara Children's Center enter this? How did you get there, and what are they able to do for you and for Megan?
Well, I find it ironic, Tim, because the first time I walked through the doors of the Niagara Children's Center, I was as a student teacher at Teachers College at Brock, and I walked through the doors and was just so impressed by the resources that they had to provide for children with special needs. And I never imagined that I would actually walk through those doors years later with my baby in arms, feeling just completely lost and afraid and desperately needing those services for my own child. And Megan has required intensive speech therapy, occupational therapy, and physiotherapy since birth. So we've been there up to 3 times a week since she was born. She's now almost 6. And the last 2 years, she's actually attended daily for her schooling. So really, every single milestone that you could imagine a child would meet, Megan has had to work intensively with therapists to achieve those.
So without the Children's Center, you're either dealing with this every day by yourself, or you have to go back and forth to MAC, or was that even a possibility?
No, like MAC has the services, the specialists that help a lot with the medical side of things.
Yep.
But things like the occupational therapy, the speech therapy, the physiotherapy, those are things that they don't provide on a daily basis. If we didn't have the Niagara Children's Center, we would have been lost. We would have been trying to piece together some privatized care. But really, we didn't know what we were doing. Like, even as a teacher, I was not prepared for the challenges that we faced. And the thing that's so unique and special about the Niagara Children's Center is that they know these children. They are not afraid by any of the conditions that walk in the door. They are comfortable. They value the children. They see the value in them, and they know techniques that can help and really give these children a chance to thrive.
And that's a really good point, because I've noticed that in my dealings with them, because my nephew has been there, my grandson has been there. And when you go through the door, there aren't a lot of people, as you so often find with specialists, kind of looking and shaking their heads going, I don't know. They're smiling, they're encouraging, and they're giving you the ability to move ahead and move forward. And as you said, they gave you the ability of hearing your child say, I love you.
Yeah, that's one of the things, Tim. I know we had talked last year, and that was one of the things that I had the hardest time that I didn't express then, was trying to break down what it is that they exactly do. Yeah. I know that if you go and you sit in a session and you see them doing these little games or exercises with the children, you just don't get a full appreciation for what that actually means when you put all of those sessions together over time and see the major gains that they make. For us, something like an occupational therapist that worked to strengthen Megan's grip and coordination, they did more than that. They gave her the gift of independence, of being able to start doing some self-dressing and some self-feeding. And with the physiotherapist, they did more than just strengthen her hips and help her build balance and endurance. They gave her the gift of dance. They gave her the ability to be able to run and play with her brothers. And for speech, that's what you were referring to. Mm-hmm. They did more than help me just establish eye contact with Megan and learn phonetic sounds. They gave me that gift of hearing her say, I love you, which is just, it's a miracle, and it's hard to put into words how much I have gratitude for the staff that have given us those amazing gifts, and the community who has supported the Children's Center in doing that. By supporting the Children's Center, the community has a vital role in actually being able to provide those moments for parents as well.
Megan, if you could say to people right now what it is that the Children's Center means to you and to children and families across Niagara, what would you encourage people to do?
It's life-giving. I think if I gave one word for the Children's Center, it would be hope. They just provide hope. They provide you with tracks to actually run on, ideas of what your child will be able to do and how you can actually be an active role in doing that. And they can't provide all of these services without the support of the community. And so that's why I think something like the Radiothon and what your station is doing is so vital, is being able to allow the community members to connect with the Children's Center and provide these opportunities for children, to give them that early intervention, which is so critical in allowing these children to thrive.
Amber, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Tim. I really appreciate this opportunity.
We'll talk again soon. Thanks.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Amber Dick is the mother of Megan Dick, who uses services at the Children's Center. You can help those services continue, and you can get other families off a waiting list and into the kind of world that Amber and Megan deal with on a daily basis, which is a happier place and a hopeful place. Call 688-3550 right now. With a one-time donation, you can join the Help Kids Shine Club for $15 a month, or immediately you can text the word kids to 20222. Just text the word kids to 20222. And if you have any more questions, it's all on our Help Kids Shine page online at www.610cktv.